All right, so everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. And for all who are clients or colleagues or friends of clients, family, you're most welcome. Feel right at home. My name is Beryl, and I'm the MD of MD of Doanis Limited, and we offer career advancement solutions. So they're generally in three areas for people who are looking for a new role, people who are looking to be promoted within their current position, and people who are looking to start a coaching or consulting business. Yeah, that's Angle North. So the segment we have that we've just started is called After Hours. And After Hours is a segment we have just recently launched where we invite business leaders to discuss their business journey, their career journey, and then we can learn from their triumphs, their challenges, and just pick their brain on different lessons they have gained through their work. Now, let's get into the meat of the session. So today's guest is our very, very first guest, and his name is Isaac Maluki. In fact, he's the one who just introduced Mary Muli, and he's the founder and CEO of Shona EPZ Limited, and he's also the former MD of Doanis Limited. Isaac's story is, to me, one of seeing opportunities through the challenges of life and just bouncing back with energy and with vibrance. And from a career in IT to marketing to investment to business development and now general management, Isaac just has the versatility, I think, that we all could learn from in this business and career journey. He's now a leader of a team of 600 members at EPZ, at Shona EPZ Limited, and he's very passionate about building teams and building businesses. And so today he's going to be sharing a little bit about that. He's also very keen in building networks, and as long as I've known Isaac, Isaac is, to me, such an extrovert. If you told me Isaac is an introvert, I'd be super shocked. But he's really, really good at networking, and he's, I think since he was in AIESEC as a student leader those days, I've seen him really, really build his network and grow in that way. And, on the personal side, Isaac makes a really, really mean eggless chocolate cake, which he taught my friend and I to do. And he also speaks Japanese. So ladies and gentlemen, would you help me to welcome Isaac Maluki? So Isaac, konnichiwa. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today. So you can turn on your video as well.
Thank you
for the session. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, and, Isaac is so gracious. He's joined us in traffic.
Yeah.
I know you're so busy. Oh my goodness. So I really appreciate the time you've taken out to be with us today. So just to introduce the people who are here. So all of us are into career advancement, and it's in different capacities. There are people who are in business, there are people who are looking to get promoted at work, there are people who are looking for new jobs. It's a whole flurry of people, but we are all about career advancement. And so because yours is such an interesting story, I just had to have you on. Yeah, and I'm so grateful that you joined us. So actually, let's just start off with from a very, from your most earliest job you remember. What was your very, very first job? What were you being paid in that job? What do you remember doing? Yeah.
Wow. My very first job was in Postbank. Right after high school, I went into Postbank and I was put in the department for new accounts. So I used to sign on new accounts. So if you went to Postbank, you wanted to open an account, it was a very tedious and manual process. So you'd come and apply, you pay your amount of money, and then we needed to record that amount on a book and sign that book. And so I had a job of signing at least probably 200 books a day. The job was just to put the signature. I think I really practiced that signature of mine. And I was being paid 7,000 shillings per month.
Wow, you're super rich.
I started saving up. So I was saving up so that I could have some money to start with in campus.
Very interesting. My very first job, I was being paid 3,000 shillings and I was the manager.
What?
But I love that job. I super love that job. Okay.
Yeah.
So take us through the transition, right? Because you have such an interesting journey. I mean, you've been in customer service, you've been in IT, you've been in marketing and business development and all of these different places, now to running your own garment manufacturing company. So what's the motivation behind these career switches? Yeah, what prompted you to switch to these different areas?
Well, initially, I really never wanted to be employed from the word go. And I think I always just wanted to get into entrepreneurship. And one of the things that I did was I went for a session, one similar to this, where we were having, obviously not Zoom then, but we were having a discussion about entrepreneurship and how we can immediately start being entrepreneurs from university. And the mentor we were talking to that time was heading Old Mutual. He was really nice gentleman from South Africa who told us two things that I keep remembering that I took home from that day. One was that even before you become an entrepreneur, you have to go through employment so that you can understand the different roles, how formal employment works, what they do to keep going, so that when you get out into entrepreneurship, you can use the same skills to now get your business running to the right level. That's the first thing. And so it excited me to get to different jobs. And I was getting to them because I was saying, now it's my time to learn about marketing. It's my time to learn about sales. It's my time to learn about business development. And then finally, now when I get out, I know how I can run my business. Then the second thing he said was that money, because somebody said, look, as young entrepreneurs, our biggest problem is access to finance. You know, we don't have the money to get started. We don't have the money to compete with the bigger guys out there. How are you going to survive? And for him, he said, money should never be looked at, or the lack of that money should never be looked at as a challenge, but it should actually be looked at as an opportunity. And those are the two things that stuck with me. And so whenever I was ever thrown a financial challenge as a bone, I would take it up and look for a way to get a solution. I think that's really what propelled me to know that it doesn't scare me if I'm told today you really need to look for 27 million shillings to do something, because then that for me is like, okay, that's fine. I'll look for it. Let's first get everything in place so that when I look for it, we are ready to jump to the next level.
Thank you for that. And I think for many of us, it's the thought of, making career switches is very daunting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, from a recruiting perspective, people are like, if you've been in finance, you should always be in finance and you should always keep going within finance. So just take us through, pick any one of the roles that you've been in, and when you're making the switch, just tell us how it is that you made that switch. How did you find out about the opportunity? What made you think to go for that particular role and that sort of thing?
Well, most of these roles actually just came by as a I don't know if I can say that terms or what, because in university I studied finance, and right after leaving the second day after graduation, I was on my way to South Africa to head a team on marketing. Yeah. And I'd never been in that role before, but here I am saying, yes, I can be able to do it. So I just took it as a challenge. I learned on the job, and that's what has happened to me in most of the opportunities that I've had. It's the fact that I've actually been learning on the job. Yeah. So 6 months in South Africa, leading 8 people from different countries. and go in with the culture, the Kenyan culture, where you say you're going to come at 2:00, and then at 3:00 you turn up. You turn up at 3:00 without an apology or anything, and you say, "Hey, okay, so where were we?" I mean, I got a beating when I was in South Africa, and I called for a meeting at 8:00, and the German gets there at 7:55. He's asking me where I am because he's expecting me. The meeting is starting at 8. I should have been here. I should have settled down. I should be settling everyone down. And that's when I was leaving the house, to drive down another 30, 45 minutes before I get to my meeting. So I learned punctuality there. I learned how to be honest with my team. I learned that that will take me a lot further than just trying to Skype my way into saying, "Oh, niko hapa, niko pale," And then when I just finished that marketing and I came back to Kenya, I found an opportunity where there was a bit of a sale. There was a company that wanted someone to do some sales, and we were selling callback. Yeah, it was, Access Kenya. I'm sure you guys know Access Kenya. So it was Access Kenya before they were Access Kenya, when they were what they used to call Communication Solutions Console. And callback was not really termed as a legal business in this country. Neither was it illegal, but it was still not really considered legal. And so where we were working was a closed door that was not marked anything. We couldn't brand ourselves. The only thing we could do was call guys and tell them, "Hey guys, there's this opportunity, but we don't want even you to know where our offices are. Just trust us." So it was so conflicting, where I'm learning honesty and all this, and then here I'm learning that I should hide myself. And while doing that, I got a chance now to go to South Africa to Japan through AIESEC to learn my to do a job, actually, programming. Remember, I've not studied any IT, but here I am taking the job. And so from programming, I came back to
Sorry,
Kenya.
Isaac, let me cut you there. So you've never done programming? Never even saw never even saw what programmers do. So how did you even find this job? And then what exactly did you tell them? Because I can imagine from an interviewer perspective, we always ask, so what's your experience? Tell us about what you have done. How did you get, what are your skill sets and all those things? So what did you say?
Okay, so it was an AIESEC job. So they found a job for me. They said, "Hey, we wanted someone who's coming from Africa, and we found someone who has some Japanese skills. So are you able?" I mean, I passed in Japanese in USIU, but truth be told, everyone passed in Japanese in USIU. It was very basic Japanese. So I said, "Yeah, why not? Let me take the opportunity." So I went to Japan, and when I was being interviewed, I was told, if you don't know anything, you just need to say "wakarimasen." Yeah, and it's a polite way of saying "I don't understand." And now in school, you're taught how to answer to "what is your name?" And "what is your name" in English is very different from "how do they call you?" Yeah, if you write those two sentences down, there's no word there that is similar to the other. What is your name and how do they call you? So in school, I learned how to answer to "what is your name?" Onamaiwa, nan desu ka? But I didn't learn how to answer "how do they call you?" or how they usually introduce themselves. And so they use the Japanese way of doing it. I mean, how do they call you, or things like that. And for every question I was asked, from my name to which country I'm in, I just kept saying "wakarimasen" with a smile, and guys were shocked. "You don't know your name? Wakarimasen. You don't know where you come from? Wakarimasen." So anyway, since I was in the country, they gave me an opportunity. They told me, "Go learn Japanese. We'll allow you 1 month free. Study it. We'll have an exam. If you pass, then you stay. If you don't pass, we'll get your ticket to go back home." And in 2 weeks' time, they called me for a test. They were supposed to call me after 4 weeks, but they called me earlier. I passed my test, and they said it's okay. So I started learning now the language when I was there. Learned Japanese, learned programming.
In Japanese?
And within 6 months, in Japanese. And within 6 months, I was given a report in Japanese, in programming and all that, yeah? Even when I was moving house, when I was in Japan, the guy who gave me the house I moved to was surprised that I was Black, because the accent I was using was so Japanese. He actually did not expect that it was a Black person who was talking. And so after that 1 year, I came back. I became a systems administrator in Kenya, in an airline. And I worked there for 5 years. And it was the same thing. I get in there because I was just going there as an IT assistant since I had done some programming in Japan. And then the current systems administrator resigns and I'm given the role. So I had to start learning systems administration, bringing down laptops, opening them all up and bringing them together, because the people who were dealing with it was a security issue. They couldn't take their machines to any shop to be made. We had to make them from there. And all the way from that, learning how to put up this masts for Safaricom, design, draw, build, mount them, and do everything by ourselves because of the security reasons. I got to learn a lot from there. Then when I left there, I went to do now sales, selling offshore investments. And from there, I went to Old Mutual later on to do business development. But in all that, I still had the audit company that I was doing on the side. And until now, at a point in time where it needed more of my time, I got out. I built it to a certain level. And within 3 years of building it, I realized that in Kenya, we actually didn't have Kenyans who were doing garment manufacturing for export in the EPZ. So my wife and I just I talked to her about it, and we agreed that it's something that can be done. And so we started.
Okay. All right. So of course you've really condensed the story. Yeah.
Yes, I have. So but the beauty about the whole process, all these different places for career and all that I've gone to, is that in all those, it was always something that I haven't really done.
Yeah.
And it was a challenge that I was willing to take and learn in the way. Even in this one for garment manufacturing, really, I was just taking it up. I've never done garment manufacturing, and I still had to show guys that as Kenyans, we can be able to do it.
Yeah. Which is pretty amazing. Yeah. So I'd like to know, are you ever, when you're making these career moves and these shifts, are you ever scared? Like, what's going through your mind at that point? For many people, they're feeling like the security blanket of what I've already known is being pulled, or rather, not even being pulled because I'm leaving it right there. And it's really tough to make the switch.
Well, I remember even going in one interview, and one guy was like, you've just done too many things. We don't even know where to pick you. Again, I go back to that mentor, Stuart Henderson from Old Mutual, who just the two things that I took home. And the part where money is not a challenge, but an opportunity. For me, I took it further than just money. I took it also in terms of my career growth, my career development, switching from doing one thing to another. That should never be a challenge, but should be an opportunity. I remember I was in between jobs at one point in time. Yeah. The time when I taught you guys how to make the cake, for me, baking was what I was doing as my day-to-day job. I baked to pay rent. I baked to do all those things, And when I was at the time when I was in between jobs, I had just lost. This was just after the post-election violence. I had lost 6 million shillings because I had borrowed that money to invest in farming, and I decided I want to go big. So I became one of the biggest farmers in that region. And then post-election violence happened, and I couldn't transport my harvested goods, products to the airport. So I lost a lot. But I used the baking to not only sustain ourselves as a family, but also to pay out some of the debts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been one of those where the opportunities, the challenges, I take them as an opportunity and not the other way around.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So let's go to Doanis, which is the first company that you founded. So how did you find out about, it's such an interesting area of consulting, social compliance auditing. So first of all, tell us what that means. And then how did you even find the market opportunity for that business?
Okay, so while in AIESEC, I had worked with some guys who, we worked with them in Finland, in Sweden, in South Africa. And this guy, basically social audits is audits of these export processing factories, mainly. And it is usually requested by the, it's usually requested by the buyer. So Walmart has an interest in manufacturing in Kenya. They'll come and say, we want to make sure that the factory that is doing that manufacturing is okay. They're treating the people okay. There's no, forced labor, sexual harassment, and stuff like that. So who do they send? They have to send someone to come and do that audit. So they first got in touch with people like PwCs and Deloitte and all, so they can get that done. And in that process, when they were doing that, hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I was saying, so where was I before the interruption of the call?
PwC was not interested.
And so PwC South Africa took that job, and the person who was given the job was an AIESEC who I had worked with in South Africa and in Finland and in Sweden. So when he came here to Kenya, he wanted just a translator. And after I did the translation job, I looked at what he was meant to do, and I told him, this is not something that should bring him all the way to Kenya. I should be able to do that job and just send him the report. So I told him he shouldn't come back. He should actually just give me the work. And I think I did that jokingly, but he took it seriously and he gave me the challenge. And then that's how we started. So we started doing social audits in Kenya, and then it moved to the East African community. And so I would audit for Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. And then in the process of doing that, he got poached by Kraft Foods, because Kraft was now interested in growing in Africa. And so he left the social audits business. But because the reports were all written my name, the Walmarts, the JCPenney's, the Sears, the Targets, all were able to trace me and then ask me whether I can be able to do the social audits for them. And I took that as an opportunity and I started a company. A few guys laughed at me about it. And when they did, it was the craziest thing. By the time I was leaving Doanis, they're the ones who were saying that idea we were laughing about, that's what we shouldn't have been laughing about. Because as individuals, there are some people who are doing audits and inspections, but as individuals, and with that, they could not be given more work than what we would call as a one-man day. For me, I had started a company, so I hired people, and I could do 5 to 10-man day jobs, while they could only do a one-man day. And what that meant is that now I started getting more of their jobs than they were.
The long story short is that at one point in time, now Kenyans were interested in setting up a social audit company because the international market was more interested in engaging a company than they were in engaging.
Sorry, Isaac, I can't hear you right now. I can't hear you. Can barely hear you actually. Maybe, I don't know, has your microphone gone out of the phone?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Maybe you come. It's very faint.
Very faint?
Yes.
Just a minute. How is that? Can you hear me better now?
Okay, it will have to do. You can go ahead. Yeah.
Hold on. And now is it better?
Well, thereabout. It's okay. Just go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. So sorry about that. So you cannot hear me now?
It's better.
It's better. Okay. So basically what happened is that now as an individual, we were not getting the jobs, but as an audit company, we were getting better jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And
better.
And that is how, yeah, it's better now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. And that is how basically we were able to get a lot of stuff done, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So from that time on, we grew the company and people were interested in working with us. And so we ended up getting now other things. It wasn't just the social audits. We were now given the job of doing inspections. We were given the job of doing factory audits. We were given a lot of work. And so we moved from just auditing garment factories to food in Ghana. I would audit factories that were canning John West tuna, or sending fresh fruits to the UK daily for hotel breakfasts, all the way to auditing a factory that was packaging charcoal, from the gunny bag into a brown bag and shipping it to Tesco in Lesotho. And with that skill is when I started getting to realize that, wow, all these countries that I was visiting.
Sorry, Isaac, it's gone faint again.
Gone faint?
Mm-hmm.
So is it better this way now?
It's better, yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna use maybe just allow me to remove the video for a minute and I talk.
Okay.
Okay, so what I was saying is that, but can you hear me now better?
Yes, better, yeah.
Okay, so I got to realize that we didn't have many Kenyans who were doing this business. Mm-hmm. In fact, when in every country I went to, from Ethiopia to Ghana, Malawi, Tanzania, apart from Tanzania, South Africa, Lesotho, we found a lot of local people who are doing the business of exporting things to Europe and to the US. And when we came into the country, the skill that I was in was mainly for the garment space. We actually didn't have ethnic Kenyans doing it. So that's how we jumped into now, Shona.
All right. So Doanis started because of an interaction with someone from your network. Yeah,
that's true.
Okay, which, though we've cut the story short, quite a number of opportunities have come through your network. Maybe just speak a little bit about how you maintain your networks, because I think many people, one of the challenges people tell me is they're so busy. It's really, really difficult to make time to maintain your networks, but I can see how critical it has been throughout your career, in your career journey, your business journey. So just tell us a little bit about how you maintain your contacts. your networks?
Well, nowadays it's been made so much easier with WhatsApp because everyone finds people and they set up WhatsApp groups from primary to high school to campus. But the network that I really maintained was the one for AIESEC. And with that one, it was because in very many conferences that I went to while I was in campus, we met with a lot of guys. We kept in touch through email, and now we've obviously been able to bring that email connection into WhatsApp. However, we still have our email links, our phone contacts, and all. And what we did is we made it fun enough that anytime we traveled to any country, we had to look for an AIESEC or an AIESEC institution and just let them know we are here. Just the way you would go to another country and you say, I need to visit my embassy and tell them that I'm around. That's what we did with our network. And when we did that, even if we didn't have the contacts of the alumni who we had met a time back, when we went to the AIESEC offices, they would be able to connect us with the people of our time.
Yeah.
The reason we were doing that is because even in campus, in AIESEC, the most important thing was exchange of people and ideas. So since we learned the culture of exchanging people and ideas, it was important for us to continue to exchange our people idea concept even after our AIESEC life. That helped us a lot because every country I went to, even if there was any trouble I was in, if I knew AIESECers would just come and rescue you just because you are an AIESECer like they were. So you know that you believe in the same kind of thing. So you also need to find the groups that you're in, the different groups that you formed while in school or in professional status, and you just continue doing it because right now there's things like BNI. I'm a former member of BNI, but I still connect with a lot of my BNI friends. You know BNI, Business Network Initiative? Okay, great. And they help a lot. I have like about 3 BNI connections that I now work with on a regular basis in the factory. I have other BNI people that I have connected to other places. So we have everything together that we do, and that's just by making sure that you always maintain your connections with your neighbors. I mean, with your friends.
Yeah. Okay. So the way I see it is that for you, networking is something you consider part of it's part of your professional growth. It's part of your, what is it called? It's meeting friends. It's just part of what you do. So it's not like a separate thing, like we went to a networking conference or we went to a networking event. This is a very active thing you're built into just the fabric of your life.
It is, however, whenever you even go to those networking conferences, it's also important to continue to maintain that connection. Yeah, because that grows into something beautiful in terms of business relations or job connections or just being able to make it through, say, a different country that you visit. It always helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So how did you make the transition from Doanis? How did you know it was time to move on from that first business? And how did you build a team? Because I think a lot of people, employed or not employed, self-employed, really want to know how to build a team strong enough to take up after you, so that you can transition seamlessly is what we want to do. Yes. How did you do it? And how did you know it was time?
Well, one of the entrepreneurial things I also got to learn was that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And so unless you take that step, you'll really never get to know what's ahead of you. If you check my communication, if I've ever written to you on using my Gmail, there's a quote that is at the end of my, when the signature. My signature says, "Probably we'll never know."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's something that I just coined up when I was in university, and I've gone on with it as my saying. Probably we'll never know. If you say probably things may happen, probably this and this could happen, you'll never really know unless you take that one step to find out. Someone could ask you around the corner, is there a car around the corner? And you can say probably, or you could actually walk around and be sure and say yes or no. And because you're going to say yes or no, it basically means that most of the times we fear something we already know is the worst. We fear the worst, yet we know the worst. If you fall down, or if you go for a marketing call and you're hoping to close a deal, the worst you can get from that marketing call is a no. And since you know the worst that you can get is a no, then that shouldn't be a fear anymore. You should just go there expecting the best, but even if you don't get it, it's just a no. It's not gonna be worse than that. And when you get over that, it gives you more confidence to keep going and going and going. And I remember in the marketing trainings that I was in, we kept being told that in 100 calls, you're gonna get one yes. So for me, I was happy to get so many no's in the beginning because I knew I was closer to the yes. And the no's did not discourage me saying, am I really ever gonna get the yes? It was about, okay, I'm closer. I didn't put that no personal. I didn't take it personal. I just took it as a business no, and that's the worst I could get. So I move on. I don't know that person. Thank you very much. Move on to the next one. Thank you very much. In one way or another, you're going to get a yes. And that's how the knocking, and that's how when I was doing sales for offshore investments in the two different companies I worked with for 3 years, that was Winton Investment and Regnum. During that period, I just kept selling. I was selling so much. And not that I was not getting the no's, but yeah, whenever I got the no, I just learned to move on quickly and not dwell on it. So as an entrepreneur, the first thing you need to know is, is it something that is your passion? That however much stressed you are, you can still go back to it and not feel like it's a job. So if that is true, then that's something that you should pursue. And then when you pursue, the only way to know how to move next is to start it. Start it, then now the next step and the next step and the next step will take over. They'll take control. We started the factory. I really didn't know that I'll get to 600 or even anticipate that now I need to get more units and more employees. We started at 47 people and we were happy just being 47. And now 600 is not enough. So we got to a point where we started it like a kiosk, and now we know that we have moved to a supermarket. And so we start changing our operations, we start changing the way we are hiring our people so that we can start now adapting to that supermarket that has come to us. The opportunity will never come knocking to you when you're not ready, when you're not in the field, when your step is still out. You have to step in and find it.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Isaac. All right, so you're taking us through, starting Shona and all of that. So I just want to understand, because Shona is, a by many multiples, millions of shillings worth of a business. How did you have this money, okay, to start off Shona? And if you didn't, how exactly did you get it?
I didn't have the money. were actually being encouraged by a group of people who unfortunately wanted us to try and fail, because they were thinking this would be the person who can be the closest to actually start as a local person. So let's see if he can at least fail, and then he would be the person to discourage the other people. And so we were told we needed about 10 million shillings to start.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought 10 million shillings isn't hard to put together. So we sold a few assets here and there. We raised about 5 million, and we thought we will gain the other 5 million as we go on in production. And they said, yeah, that's fine. You'll be able to do that. And when we started, then they changed, and they're like, oh, I hope you have at least 1 year's salary to keep your people at work, because we are not going to give you a job until you're over a year old. And that's where all the challenges began. So no, we didn't have the money. It was in the 3 years that I've been in this business, we've spent almost 400 million shillings. The first year, 100 million. By the second year, I was in debt of over 130 million shillings. But we continued to grow. Basically, I think it was in such a way that we always found an opportunity every month to be able to take care of whatever issues that may have cropped up. And also a lot of prayer. Let me tell you, entrepreneurs are the ones who meet God very well. So we actually really worked towards building the business so that we are not a laughing stock. And we found people on the way who were able to support us, be it funding, be it machinery, and also orders. And because we found that opportunity in that way, we have actually now started doing the same with 2 other Kenyan companies that have come up. We've given them the opportunity by making sure that we are giving them orders, we are helping in training and all that, so that they can stay afloat until the international buyers come and find them. So no, we didn't have the money, but God was able to help guide us through the process of and the people brought the right people our way, and that's what happens in business. You'll get in there and you will actually find people who are going to support you through that process.
So how did you finance the business then?
The first 5 million was mainly selling our assets. I sold my car, we sold some property. Oh yeah, we sold our house. Oh my. That was the craziest part. We sold our house, and the money we were supposed to build somewhere else, we pumped all of it into the factory. Yeah.
Okay. And then how did you finance just, because 600 employees, Isaac, I mean, I can imagine your wage bill every month. How do you do it?
Right now we have some business that works out. We have a lot of learnings we've done from experience. We still got a bit of a way to go, but we are getting there. Our wage bill is now at about 10 million a month. Our business income is really barely getting there. And so sometimes we are break even, sometimes we are below, and once in a while we'll be a bit above with a few million shillings. And at that point in time, then we cater for the times when we were below the break-even points. The beauty about now is the fact that now we have an internationally recognized certificate called a RAP, World Responsible Accredited Partnership Certificate, and that is the green light for any American or European buyer to place an order with us with immediate effect, just because we have that certificate.
Without the certificate, the buyers will just take you round and round and round, find out more about who you are and what you do, not really interested in placing orders.
Yeah.
So we are looking forward to the orders that are coming in, because then we are looking at 3-year commitments. The 3-year commitments means that we can plan properly, we can start building efficiencies, and we can start seeing now the profit margins grow.
Yeah, God willing. And
yeah,
I'm just thinking, from a personal point, if I had 600 million people depending on me every month, there'd be a bit of jitters. Does that even scare you at all, or you're used to it now?
There's no getting used to it. That's the only thing that gives me sleepless nights. If I know I don't have money to pay my people, I can't feed them, I might lose them, and they might be kicked out of their homes. And yet 40% of my employees, I think, almost 40% of my employees are single mothers, and they really depend on being paid for this to take care of their families.
Yeah.
So that gives me sleepless nights, and so I always have to make sure I'm focused, I'm looking forward, and just trying to understand where can I get this money to make sure that whether the client pays me or not, my workers have been paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And remember that, to me, from Stuart Henderson's training, is the opportunity that I have and not the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So in your line of business and where your business currently is, I mean, resilience is a thing. Every month you have to push ahead, push forward. Yeah. Despite of the last month's challenges and whatnot. Maybe talk to us a little bit about that, because sometimes, you can feel very discouraged, like in your career. Let me even speak for those who don't have businesses, right? Maybe it's your career and you feel like you've been applying to jobs, maybe you're not getting the opportunities you're searching for and things like that, and you can feel very discouraged. What can you tell someone who's in that space right now and they are feeling like, is it ever going to open up, or is it going to be like this? What would you tell someone like that?
Well, when you walk down the streets, you're going to be the person who's either going to look at the advertisement and take that opportunity, or you're the one who's going to have put up that advertisement and people are looking at it to take your opportunity. So you have to choose where you really want to be. If you feel that where you are is not the right place for you, the attitude is wrong, the space is not right, start looking for something. But then remember, it has to be your passion. It has to be the kind where even at the worst disappointment, you can still wake up the next day and see how you can solve it. You get? So change it, change the attitude, and if it can't change, then find another place. But like for me, what I did is, before I really left that formal employment, I wanted what at that time was the side hustle to demand more of me. So I built it. I hired guys to do it for me when I was working, and I would only take days off, leave days, to step into because they had too much to do. And one of the years, I just decided that if the day my leave days end before the year is over, then it means that it's time for me to move on. And within 2 months of making that decision, my leave days ended. So in half of the year, in June of that year, I simply just resigned.
Yeah.
I
hear you. Okay. So I just want to take you a little bit back towards the networking bit. Yeah. Because maybe I can tell a story. When I was much younger, and my late friend Stacy invited us for a sort of business networking session at her office. And I'm not sure if you remember Stacy, but we invited you to come and speak to us during that session. And you spoke to us about investments and, investing in financial markets locally and globally. And we were very young. obviously we're not high net worth individuals at that time, who are your target clients. Yeah. But first, that really stuck with me, that you took your time out to speak to some young ladies who are barely out of campus about things like that, but not expecting anything, out of the entire session. So maybe speak a little bit about that, because I know you're very passionate about mentoring others and then building others. And we speak a little bit about that, and what's the value of it for you in your life, that you pour into other people's lives like that?
Oh, okay. Yes. I got to realize that, and I think I have a lot of fights with other people who think that I'm just spending too much time with people who are not making money for me. And I keep telling them it's not about that. It's about being able to encourage people and monitor them. And mentor them to a point where they know that it can also happen for them. You see, the thing is this, just as a good example, this garment space is so huge. We are at 0.3, I think right now, % of America's garment demand. That's what Kenya is producing to the US per year, 0.3. We're not even at 0.5%. Do you think I can bite all that? I can't. But if I can bring so many Kenyans into that space, we can grow so huge, so big, that as a country, as a people, we are just so developed. I mean, look at China. 25 years ago, they had the least road networks, I think, in continent-wise, in the world. And now they have the most. And they don't just have the most, they have such a great technology that they're the ones who are doing roads around the world. They didn't just wake up knowing all these things. They actually encouraged each other to do manufacturing. Anything you want in China, from a glass of water, toothpicks, paper cups, whatever it is you need, you can find it in China. Why can't we do the same in Kenya? And the only way we can do that is encourage each other, all of us, for that entrepreneurial spirit to start something. Today, if you wanted to ship paper clips, just paper clips, to the US, yes, you can. You just need 2 guys, if not 1 person, to hire. One guy gets into the machine. The machine is not too big. It's a very small machine. It's not expensive. With about $1 million plus, you'll already have started your operations, and you have 1 wire in 1 place. You feed it all day. It folds and spits out paper clips on one end. After lunch, you stop feeding the machine and you go and collect them up in boxes, and you're ready to ship out. Basically, we have the opportunity of now moving from importing everything that we have from there to moving to being the exporters and growing. Look at Bangladesh, for instance. The country is 1/3 the size of Kenya. It has almost 200 million people, 50 million of who are in the garment space. It's not just garment manufacturing, it's the suppliers of thread, of needles, of machines, of oil, of stickers, of anything that supports that manufacturer to be able to move out. I just, by the way, I just was able to get Tommy Hilfiger to work with us.
Oh, awesome.
And they are interested in placing the order with us. And they've told us we have the leeway to find the labels and trims in the local market. Guess what? We don't have those people who can do it. So I'm already calling my friends and telling them, start this factory. I'll buy from you,
Yes.
Yeah. So I think for me, when it comes to mentoring and talking to people, trust me, you come to my office and you tell me you just want to talk and find out more about the business, and you just get encouraged, I will give you 100% of my time.
That's the truth.
Some people have tried it. They have seen my videos, and if you just Google online, you'll see some of the videos about Shona. And they have said, I'm not sure we can actually, this guy is just saying it. And they come to the factory and they get shocked. I will give you all the time.
Yeah.
Even when my client, my buyer, the one who's bringing the money is there, I will tell my buyer, I have a client, please wait, I'll be with you.
Yeah. Yes, I really like that. You know, it's providing value. Like we need to think about providing value and not necessarily about just what you get from people you're networking with. You know, now that they're part of your community, you know, what can you do for them? Yeah, and it really does propel a lot of opportunities for people. Okay, so Isaac, how about, you know, give us 2 examples, you know, your worst career or business mistakes that you've made and how you bounced back from there. Which 2 really hit home for you?
Wow, career mistakes.
Or business.
Let me tell you this, I've always wanted to, my best partner is my best friend, my wife, Carol.
Yeah.
And whenever I try to do something behind her back, it so backfires. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I've tried it and tried it again, and it has backfired so much that I have said never again, you know, because I am such a risk taker, and she's the one who controls me and tells me, okay, you'll do it, but have you checked ABCD? And whenever I do it without those checks of ABCDs, oh man, I would fall. I would really fall. But career mistakes, I can say I've made so many of them. None of them as a regret.
Yeah.
All of them as a learning experience. Some guys called me one time and they wanted us to start some radio or TV thing, and I thought it was interesting, and they I invested, I think, about 2 million shillings to start it off, only for it to be a scam. And I did it in the quiet, not telling my wife anything about it. But I told her probably I would have learned not to. But anyway, I learned about that. The rest of the things I've actually been doing all other businesses, just the normal businesses that we've always done with her. And they have flourished, they have struggled, but all of them have been a learning experience.
Yeah. No, that's really awesome. That's super awesome. Okay. So I'd like to open up to questions now, Isaac. So let me start off by seeing ones I have here. So someone's asking if you're looking for new members. I'm guessing this is in regards to the business opportunities that you've spoken about, especially within garment manufacturing.
Oh, yes. I mean, definitely. Look, this is what I do. And I think I have really tried to develop that very much. I want to listen to you. I want to know you more and just get to understand your passion. In the process of listening to you, I can be able to tell you which space you can take up and how you can grow it. And then if it's a support to the garment space, I can show you how we can be able to support you in that space.
And guys, he's not even joking. He really goes 9 yards with you. Okay, so I think Isaac, I can share your. What do you want me to share? Your email, your number, all. What do you want?
Any.
So
listen. I must tell you something. Fine, you can write. You can send an email to me, definitely. But the best way to get in touch with me is call me. If you find my phone busy, don't worry. I always return every call.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So for those who are in the session today, I'm going to share Isaac's phone number with you and his email address, and you can reach him. Okay.
Yes.
So if you want to ask a question live, please just send me a question. Send me a direct message and just say live. I'll know to unmute you so that you can go ahead. Okay, and then another question is, if you had to start building a network, so if you had to start building a network, what exactly would you do? And then give us practical tips for building and maintaining networks.
Okay. Building networks. I'll give you practical examples of what I've done to build the networks. When in the garment space, because I need to export, I have to be, I have to partner or get to know the buyers, the international buyers. So we spent a lot of time flying to the US, getting to meet the clients. That may be a lot more expensive, I know, but when you're not there physically, then you cannot be seen. So whatever business you're in, find the convention, conference, whatever it is, even in the local space. And when you have any event in that space, be there physically. It makes a big difference because people see you. You know, let me tell you something. Yes, guys will buy your business, but they're actually buying you.
Sorry, Isaac, could you just, the volume is pretty low again.
I'm saying, can you hear me
now?
Better.
Better.
I'm saying guys will buy your business, yes, but they first buy you. So you need to sell yourself first before you can sell your business. And the only way you can sell yourself, I think, is by being physically with those people. I know now Zoom has made it in such a way that you can try and put that together. But yeah, if that is the case, then be in those Zoom meetings, get to engage with people, get to know them, get to meet them, and then get to sell yourself so that now you can sell what you're selling, your product. So I joined BNI because I wanted to know what's out there. And in the process of joining BNI, I gave many people businesses, but I also learned a lot. And so you can also do the same. You could end up being in BNI or whichever Rotary Act or any other group. In fact, like this one that you're in right now, I think is amazing because this is a place where you'll start putting your networks together and building your business together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I don't think I see any other question. Let me just make sure. Maybe some questions are to be asked to you directly when people get in touch with you. But in closing, what would you want to tell? What do you want to tell us about, some lessons you've learned along the way and things that you feel have really impacted you?
Yeah, well, one of the things is that since you already know that you can't take all the business to yourself, one of the things I've learned is that mentor people, work with them, help them grow, because someone somewhere may have done the same thing for you. They've talked to you, they've encouraged you, they're the reason why you've got that extra strength to go on and do what you need to do. So when you get an opportunity to mentor others, please don't snap that, because you never know that that's exactly what was going to be the missing link for them. Secondly is that even when you fall down, don't ever think that the world is ending. So unless you want guys to dig 6 feet under for you, just get up, dust yourself, and start again. And keep going and keep going and keep going. I mean, look at the bulb. The guy who did the bulb, I think he failed over 100 times, but he never stopped. Yeah. So also for you, do not stop. Third, the opportunities in this world are so enormous. So enormous, like crazily enormous. You want to know how much? AGOA, go onto the internet, look for AGOA kind of products that we are allowed to export to the US duty-free. And you will find over 6,000 items that can be shipped out to the US. From toothpicks to paper clips to glasses to spoons to anything. I mean, to food. Guys, you can even export chicken feet to the US.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So since the opportunities are so huge, do not limit yourself to thinking local. And if you don't want to start thinking exporting to the US, at least think regional. You have Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Congo. Congo is such a huge market. You have all those people that you can sell to if you don't really want to start thinking about regionally. Because if you just think local, then you might limit yourself to the potential that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really thank you for, just sharing that, especially about the generosity. That really struck home for me. Because sometimes we have this, almost territorial thing around the opportunities we find. But first, you can't fill every opportunity, but opportunities are more lucrative sometimes when you look at things from a wider perspective. Like, I'd rather have 1% of 100 than have 50% of 10. Or is that wrong? 50% of 1. So yeah, but just thinking about life in that way is really awesome. Yeah. So Isaac, I just want to thank you so much. Maybe you could just switch on your video at least to Nini. Yeah, so thank you so much, guys. I just want to also let you know that Isaac was actually in a car accident yesterday. Didn't even cancel. So Isaac, hats off. Thank you so much for making the time, and I really, really appreciate it. Yes, and so everyone, if you feel free to unmute and just say thank you, Isaac, for the session. You're as inspired as I was.
Thank you so much. I'm reading your messages.
All right, you're very, very welcome. You're free to unmute. You can say thank you, Isaac. It's all right.
Thank you,
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're most welcome. I hope to hear from you guys soon. Yeah, you're welcome.
You'll be hearing from us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let's build a lot of millionaires in this country.
Absolutely. That's my dream, by the way. Like, huge African businesses and really, really strong leaders. I mean, that's worth living for, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. So I wish you the very best and have a good evening. I will be, so as long as you attended, you will receive Isaac's contact details. Feel free to reach out to him. Just remind him where you met him.
Yes, please. Oh, yes, please. You have to.
Yeah. All right. And have a good night. God bless you all.
Good night. Thank you.